This is the second of the other Argentine member, the CIA.
We are going to discuss Ratzinger's resignation on February 11, 2013. Bergoglio, Cristina and the CIA, with my case. How I am permanently with extortionists 24 hours a day. Extortion always reveals the data, interests and plans they have. Both Peronismo, the ruling party, and the CIA. I deliver my first writing in Comodoro P on February 19, 2013, which is the reception of the Federal Court Number 5 of Oyarbid. What a coincidence, he died on September 1, 2021, the same day as the failed assassination of Cristina Kirchner a year later. I tell all of you that since I am monitored 24 hours a day, the CIA knows everything I am going to do, so they knew a month before that I was going to Comodoro P. Also by the media, I kept thinking, how to make an important criminal action against the national government. Reading the media, I realized that the criminal jurisdiction was Comodoro P, for crimes associated with the national government. So, if I do deliver the complaint on February 19th, the CIA knew the content of the complaint and the time that I prepared myself to do it. With which Ratzinger had time to resign, on February 11, 2013. And why? How the CIA kept torturing me for pedophilia. In mid-2012, I checked for minors before the world and the satellite, through the amygdala, scientifically, that I do not have any spontaneous cerebral and physical activity. Nor emotional activity because I was never a father, nor panic because I never did or tried a pedophilia. Those things are important to a human being and the emotion is going to be expressed. At the beginning of 2012 I found out that France and Germany are going to give me French citizenship. Europe and the US knew that I recorded it on video and I have it in my possession. I also went and recorded a video with my cousin Annabella and her family and other direct relatives with written notifications warning them that the extortionists were using them as victims. So on February 19, 2013 I file my first complaint. On February 11th Ratzinger resigns. Why would CIA make him resign? I am going to show the hypothesis, then you have to look for the evidence. Why Ratzinger would resign? Because the CIA think it, lost for lost. The only thing left for us is to generate guilt and confession to Gustavo. Ideology of Catholicism, guilt plus confession. Everyone wants that. 12 years ago, impossible. I put the case in the hands of justice. It will only be resolved in court. And in the face of their overwhelming superiority, it is only injustice. Because there is the only place where we are all equal. So they force him to renounce Ratzinger and choose Papa Francisco. The book by this British journalist Gerard O'Connell describes the choice of Bergoglio, comments how something exceptional that they had little time. That Francisco's resignation was sudden. Yes, but it was as sudden as the death of Pope Juan Pablo II in almost the same period of time in electing Ratzinger and Bergoglio. It was not exceptional. Francisco's was less time. Now we are going to explain why the CIA turns to the Catholic Church. Because Catholics have 13,000 parishes in the United States that raised $8.9 billion in 2015. Approximately it is believed that some $890 million go to the Vatican. And the Americans make up the fourth Catholic congregation in the world behind Brazil, Mexico and the Philippines. But they are the ones that give the Vatican the most money. Due to the number of parishioners and their purchasing power, the other three are relegated. In addition, Americans give money for charity and donations, for example around $70 million in 2011. It seems to me that they fell short with the charity. It should have been much higher in 2011 and now. The truth is that the US is the main country in the world in financing the Vatican, and the CIA as a method delegates its work to third parties, trying to hide its hands all the time and influence people with third parties. Pope Francis knows about the dependency of the United States and should know by the leadership of the Argentine Church, which is part of the Argentine establishment, without a doubt. Yesterday in the newspaper Purple I saw that the Pope said that he comes from a macho society like Argentina, to justify almost the same newspaper. But no, the Pope should say that he comes from a society where Peronism exists, which, like machismo, is obsolete, just like Cristina. But take what I say as scientific. Because that is what Francisco's deal with Cristina Kirchner signifies. The CIA, lost for lost with my case, sends Cristina to the Vatican, to make good friends and internal and external promotion. Look at the YouTube videos of CFK in the Vatican. She is not submissive because she is surrendered to the power of God or of an Argentine as head of the church. She is never submissive. She does it out of necessity. She is submissive because the CIA tells Christina, one of the cards we have left is that Gustavo, overwhelmed by torture, mistreatment and extortion, blames his and Gustavo confesses. Problem: I am no longer Catholic and I do not believe in the importance of religions in the modern world. Christina goes to the Vatican for the first time for the Assumption of Francis, on March 18, 2013. Then meets the Pope in Brazil on July 28 of the same year. Then on March 17, 2014 and on September 20th of the same year, finally on June 7, 2015. On January 18, 2015, prosecutor Nisman was found dead. The CIA and CFK use it politically in the Vatican as if nothing had happened in Argentina. Then the CIA convinces Christina to behave like a parishioner, to cement the relationship with Francisco. To sell myself with her monitoring and her extortion that Christina and Pope would be trustworthy. Final point. Nobody believes the CIA, nor Pope, nor Christina Kirchner. Then President Macri went to Rome twice. I tell you that Washington sent Elon Musk to the Vatican a month ago. Now I am going to put several photos where I am going to show you several CIA keys. You will often see a photo of Macri, who was twice in 2015, and once he is with Juliana Aguada in black, just like Christina, and her daughter Antonia in white along with the Pope. Behind is the frame of the painting. The frame is Marco in Spanish. The Annabella's father is Marcos. Macri looking up and with his teeth exposed. He says that I am an entity. Say white in the Annabella case. Elon Musk with 4 sons, where the last one puts his elbow against the white curtain. The message. Short, they are teasing you with minors. Then comes the death of Nisman. The Peronism and the CIA, they cemented it well before public opinion. They made it look like a greedy and lustful capitalism with women. As much as Nisman had funds, it's an intelligence job. The prosecutor met for the AMIA cause with the Mossad, the FBI and the CIA and other agencies of the world. The government had been following him because of his work and the complaints he made against the CFK government and those close to him. Nisman was aware of my case. 23 of my criminal cases have been filed in federal justice to date. The Nisman's main message was to take a picture with his daughter in London because he knew that the side files in my name are held by the British state. Nisman was mobilized for my case, I suppose. Because he had for my life. Obviously the CIA is above me, Christina and Nisman. Killing him there in the bathroom of his apartment is a message to me. Because the CIA blackmails me all day long and also when I'm in the bathroom. What do people all over the world do? They have sex and masturbate in the bathroom. But they also make me hear my younger neighbors through the bathroom's window, like perverse extortion. Christina did a good job, a fine job to make the Pope believe the false accusations about Nisman's greed or fraud with the money and lust with women. Greed and sex. CFK when she appeared before the Pope so repentant of any sin and submissive before the figure of him as head of the church. Francisco is convinced from the beginning and also the capital and the West, who despise both the Pope and the Peronism. You see Pope's scornful face when Macri visits him. It's because Christina convinces Francisco that she is the good girl and Macri is the bad boy. Macri is the evil that wants to put an end to everything good about Kirchnerism and Christina's model. Please laugh. That happened on June 7, 2015. No one talks about Nisman because Francisco considers him a Jewish sinner and CFK is the saint. The work in Rome has 2 ends. One is EEUU financier of the Vatican and the other is anticapitalist and falsely clerical Peronism. The double necessity of the crimes of the Catholics in the USA and the problems of the Italian cardinals and other places, a financial and sexual corruption also influence. Pedophilia, theft, embezzlement, etc. The Vatalik as the English writer calls it. Important. Many of the bishops and priests are Italian and have problems of all kinds. So better, instead of putting an Italian to an Argentine descendant and work speaks Italian. Now you begin to understand why Christina's changes are and why neither of them talked about Nisman. We summarize what a correspondent in Argentina of the Madrid newspaper El País adds. He especially tells how badly Nestor and Christina Kirchner got along with Bergoglio when he was bishop of the city of Buenos Aires. But he does clarify the reason. The story of why the church is involved in this case has to do with the police and their monitoring of all the places I go to, and one is the University of Moron. In Moron there is a bishopric, and the Quiroga criminals with a drug trafficking record. The police created problems for me in the places I lived, in Don Torquato at my cousin Fernando's house and in Pacheco at my uncle Hugo's house. So at the beginning of 2002 I moved to my maternal grandmother's house. My grandmother went to the neighborhood church that gave her donations. I was without work due to the coercion of the police at works and without continuing my studies at the private university. It occurred to my grandmother to propose me to help the church with the administration. Thus, because of this issue and because of habitual slander by the police, the parishioners, friends of my grandmother, came and harassed me. So they came to harass me and named the Bishop of San Isidro Jorge Casareto Moron as a head of federal justice, like San Isidro. And the police defamed me with crimes against homes and drug trafficking because I am a chemical technician. And also in parallel identity plans with the Quiroga, are me and my brothers, and one had his girlfriend and current sister-in-law in Martinez, a town in San Isidro. The church as well as the media are part of the Argentine establishment and also take care of their budgetary rations, and the priests know that the Peronists are quick pens and with a stroke of the pen they can leave them without money. The ruling party had large parliamentary majority. The mayor of San Isidro, Gustavo Darío, sent me messages every time the police on the bridge on the way to Moron, where I studied at the university of the city. Every time he went out on Thursdays between 2016 and early 2020. Later, when I came back, Jorge Macri harassed me when I crossed General Paz Avenue on Maipú Avenue. He left me a message with the police patrol cars. We are going to talk about Cristina's press campaigns with Camino in 2021. One was the cause of Era San Juan and Macri's allegations of illegal espionage. And the other was Vidal Gestapo for anti-union espionage. I add that at the same time of the Vidal Gestapo case in the San Miguel clinic where I attend, since I left the hospital at the end of 2015. At the time, the Vidal Gestapo matched the prescription of my remedies in the clinic with the signature of Vidal, who had never been a prescriber. They made the mistake on purpose to force me to pay for a remedy that the social service covered 100%. They made the recipe, but Vidal did not enable any social service coverage. To force me to cover with my income, when that medicine occupied almost 75% of my income. The protocol as weapon is covered by a national law to protect affiliates. With these acts they earned a federal criminal complaint. The PEN, the CIA, the AFI of Camino, the doctors and the clinic for extortion on the means of subsistence. About Trump's relationship with Europe, the mistreatment that Europe received is marked by the Brexit, where Trump messed with Great Britain to isolate them from Europe. Also here the CIA was campaigning for the UK to withdraw from Europe because of the files under my national identity document that London houses. My European team made it clear to me that Queen Elizabeth II has a commitment to the other European royals and to Brussels. Then NATO. Trump told France and Germany that NATO was obsolete, what had to be changed. Hollande and Merkel responded that Europe had the right to make its own decisions, among them, security. That is why the US, when the war began, took out the CIA files where they warned Germany about the energy dependence of the Russians. It is understood that Germany trusted Putin, and the Americans took advantage of the trust with the CIA to encourage Putin to invade them. It is no coincidence that the US is throwing the ball out of bounds and almost alone Germany is supporting Ukraine. The main support with weapons and politics is Germany, although there are also other European countries on their own scale. Give it. It's a historical key for me. It's a Scioli slogan that means, they await my confession. I am in federal justice. Everything will be resolved judicially. Another key piece of information was the Supreme Court judge, Makeda, also in Congress with a black headscarf. The color black is the US and Makeda is the same as Macanas or lies. CFK. It is coincidence that he appeared with a black cap and also Lula with the inscription, Cristina 2023. When I went to Uruguay to the UN office and Brazil in 2014, when Lula and Mujica governed respectively. This case interests the US too much because of global surveillance, and because with their monopolistic mass media, the internet and entertainment they can subdue anyone in the world and generate its reputation, history and crimes at Washington's will. The US can kill you in seconds, frying your brain with its satellites' waves. Nancy Pelosi's trip to Taiwan speaking for freedom and democracy, getting off the plane dressed in pink, was no coincidence either. I'm not gay. I had a wife. A couple. Lorena. They scared her away from me by shouting from Vilma Socorro Martinez, and Pelosi's circus was to invite China or scare that she provoked so that China would enter the war in favor of Russia.